Go. Okay, gang, so this is CompTIA Security Plus, and it's going to be a short briefing, and a couple of the main things that I'm going to cover is, should you take the old exam, we'll define that, or should you take the new exam, and we'll define that. We'll go over the exams, and particularly the old version, because I have more data on it. We'll talk about what the exam is like and some study materials. I'm going to give out my email address at the end. And I have a few things up on Rally Point for those people that are able to, get to Rally Point. I have things about obtaining materials to study, which is important, books, videos, and also a little bit of background on the test. So this is a very brief overview. Okay. Moving on. Interrupt me at any time. The more you guys chat, the better. And you can't distract me. I've taught for 28 years. Okay, which version of the exam should you take? The old exam versus the new exam. So let's define that. So CompTIA has a Security Plus exam, the old exam from, what's 3 years ago? 2017, probably the fall, right? That would be the 501 series. And I'm gonna see if I've got a book handy. We're always looking at our books. Where's my camera? How's that? Cool. So I have the old 501. Now, what's interesting is the new 601 was just released. Cool. Now, what I'm going to try and do is pull up a CompTIA page or PDF that gives us a little bit more information. So I'm going to type in, let's see, CompTIA. This is going to be hidden on the side where you can't see it. Security Plus 501. And I think this one's out of Japan, but we don't really care. Let me pop that up. Boom, and I'm going to slide it over where everybody can see. Waiting, 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 and okay. So I did a Google search. Can everybody see the overlay, or did it switch over for us?
Yep, got that.
Oh, yep. Google Meet sometimes doesn't do that. There's special ways you have to click on screen share. Otherwise, you overlay something and it doesn't show. All right, so what I did is I did a Google search on Security Plus. Sometimes I do PDF, and I think it says JP at the end of it, so maybe this is out of Japan. I don't know. Anyway, so this is the deal. This is the Bible for taking the exam. All right, let's take a quick gander at this. So we're going to look for some key points. Key points. Let's see if I can expand this. All right, can everybody read this enough? Maximum of 90 questions?
Yep.
That's big enough? Okay. So maximum of 90 questions on the exam. It's multiple choice and performance based, right? Length of the test is 90 minutes. Man, if you know your stuff, a lot of times I'll go in there and I'll knock this out. Instead of 90 minutes, I'll do it in 30 minutes, take 5 to review, and I'm done. It all depends on how many test banks that you've, or practice tests you've taken. Recommended experience, 2 years, not really necessary. Passing score, 750 on a scale of 100 to 900, which means you're probably not going to max this. I mean, unless you've had like 5 or 6 years experience and you've actually taught this, it's rare for somebody to max this out. Now, some of these things flow naturally from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, and it's obvious. And sometimes it's best if I jump around. So right now I'm covering, what sort of things are on the test? What is the scope of the test? What is the scope? So everybody remember which one we're talking about. We're talking about the 501 that was released about 3 years ago. We still haven't talked about the 601. All right, so if we take a look, there's domains. Think of this as like scopes, areas, sections. And when you take practice tests, you might do really well in domain 1, domain 2, architecture and design, you're just not getting it. Domain 4.
Sorry, Brett. Do you mind letting Kenneth back in? Sorry.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And one question for you real quick,
yes, sir.
Brett. 501 and 601, do you know when the end of life for 501 is going to be?
I'm going to go ahead and look that up and show you guys where to find it. It's always best to go to CompTIA. Here's the deal. As far as I understand, 601 was supposed to come out today, the 12th of, coincidentally, the 12th of November, right? Traditional overlap is 3 to 4 months. You traditionally have 3 to 4 months to take the old exam, right? But I'm going to show you the wisest way to do this, right? Which is go to the CompTIA site and see, because it's like with you, with me, it's subject to change. You know what I mean? They might not have released the 601 today, right? It's always best to go to the source. But anybody that's done this for a while would say that the exam is technically good for 3. You can take that specific exam for 3 years, but there's anywhere from like 3 to 4 month overlap, right? And I'm gonna show you guys how to get to the site and look for it, right? Hey, stop me at any time. The more y'all talk, the better score I get. So domain. So let's say you're not doing so good on domain 3 and domain 6. What's the big deal about exams? You want to limit the stuff that you have to keep studying. You want to say, you know what? I'm scoring 97% on domain 1. I can stop worrying about domain 1. That's the big deal there, right? And I don't know if I have this handy, but I'm going to pull it up on Amazon. Some of these books have a sister or cousin version that will say practice tests. It looks almost as, sometimes they change authors, but I like the Cybex ones because there's usually a study guide, and then there's another one that's about as thick, which has 5 practice tests. And you can do those either with the book, write them down, right, or you can do them online. Practice tests are a major key to seeing where you're at. So I'm gonna jump around just a little bit here. So anyway, we're talking about the domains. You want to figure out where you're at. Practice tests will help. I'm sorry, was that a question? So, okay, let's check this out. Threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. So look, what they're doing is they're expanding, the person that wrote the PDF is expanding domain 1, right? And you're gonna have subdomains, right? And in each one of these subdomains, it's kind of a focus, an intense focus on a small area, right? So within domain 1, given a scenario, analyze indicators of compromise. How do you know you got hit and what did it, right? Then next, compare and contrast types of attacks, okay? So this is all under threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. And there's about 5 or 6 of these. Let me go ahead into domain 2. I'm gonna scroll slowly, try not to make you dizzy. Threat actors, pen testing concepts, this is all still domain 1. And then we hit domain 2, technologies and tools. Obviously, if you're taking an exam, you really want to download this PDF, right? Whether you print it out in color or black and white, this is a nice thing to have. I mean, if you're spending the $300 to take the exam, whatever, you want this PDF, probably printed. So technology and tools, these are the tools and toys, right?
Now,
And
quick
it's,
question
please.
for you. As far as the sections goes, I know the domain, or like each domain, there's 5 domains, but they have all these subcategories. What have you found is the best method, I guess, as far as time frame goes to spend on each section? Or is it kind of like you have to figure out which one on your own?
Very good question. Very good question. Let's take a look at something right here. First of all, I'm gonna shotgun approach. I'm gonna do the overall domain, and I'm gonna see if I can skate without answering the subdomain. Let's take a look at something. All right, look at the percentages on the side. Is that still big enough to see? We good?
Yep.
Which one of these do you think you probably have to spend the most time on? Which one the least amount of time on? Take a look at the percentages. Which ones are you really gonna have to put more time into?
Definitely technologies and tools.
Sure,
First
22.
two.
I'm sorry, what else?
Just the first 2.
Yes, sir. Very nice, very nice. And by the way, teachers that want somebody to get engaged might ask questions that are really 7th grade level. They're like, duh, obviously 1 and 2. But what it does is it opens the channel with an easy question, so you're more comfortable talking, right? So experienced teachers are like, it's like maybe somebody that has a bunch of toddlers. Now, you're hungry now, aren't you? I'm not a toddler. So anyway, it's a way of getting engagement. I'm not really trying to belittle anybody by asking obvious questions. It's an icebreaker. Take a look at cryptography and PKI. So it's only 12%, so we can just totally blow this off, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right, no. But time-wise, can you see how you might want to spend about twice the amount of time on technology and tools? Adam, does this kinda, sorta? And from then on, if you want to get more granular and you want to say, hey, technology and tools, I'm going to drop down to 2. This is great interaction, guys. I don't want to just give you answers, and I want to get you to think it through. So let's make this a little bit smaller. So there's 2.1, there's 2.2. And really what you have to do, you have to get a book that has practice exams and hit it, right? And some of them will grade it and they'll tell you, hey, you missed some from 2.1 and then you missed some from 2.3. It's granular. On top of that, do you see how you're going to have, can we agree that we have a lot of terms to memorize? Flashcards, flashcards. Can somebody, and I'm skipping around a little bit here, but that's okay. Who knows a good set of electronic flashcards? What's a company or model that has some flashcards?
Oh, shoot. I had one a while back. I can't
They
remember.
kind of have things like quizzes. It's kind of like quizzes. Quizlet,
Oh, yeah.
Quizlet, right?
Do they have an app on their phone for it? I think that's the biggest one. Would you recommend doing physical, like, index cards or just on your phone? I like the
Phone, because phone's always with you. Index cards, you're going to have so many of them. They're a pain in the butt. Phone, you know. So I've got Quizlet on my phone. Now, obviously, if you consider it a security issue and you don't like crap on your phone, I like to always think security. So if you do that, that's fine. Now, what I'm going to do on my rally point, I have like introductory videos, like here's where you get this material to study. But I have actually like domain 1, domain 2, domain 3. They're not complete, but I do have little pieces of Quizlet on there. And then what else did I do? I have like little videos for each. You know, I think I got into maybe even the subdomains. So let me see if I don't take too long, I can pop up my rally point and show you some actual Quizlets. What's the benefit of Quizlet? Quizlet, because it's so popular, if you're taking a course at, name a big college, famous college.
Harvard.
Harvard. Okay, so if there's a Harvard cybersecurity, you know, sort of course, right, and it's Harvard cybersecurity, CS, I'm thinking computer science, but let's call it Harvard CS 305, right? If it's a famous school, somebody from those classes has already made a Quizlet test bank. It's that popular. I'm taking from WGU, Western Governors, and if I want to get a Quizlet from any of my courses, it's on there. I might look them up on Reddit, or I might go straight to Quizlet, but a lot of these are pre-made. And if you type in a term, like if we look at ACL, this is an anterior cruciate ligament. This isn't the, you know, the medical term, access control list. If you type in ACL in Quizlet to create, you know, a little card, it'll start giving suggested definitions. It's awesome. We should look it up later. Anyway, it cures the common cold. It might help with COVID. But anyway, Quizlet is awesome.
Question here.
Sir.
Can you scroll up to just above the first bit higher? The contents of the introduction, I guess, right there.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, right here. So you see the passing, under test details, you see passing score.
Yes, sir.
750 out of scale of 100 to 900. So approximately, and then there's 90 questions. So approximately how many questions are we looking at to get right, wrong?
Oh my God, I'd have to. Here's the thing. Different questions aren't the same value. And by the way, when it says maximum of 90, like for instance, let's say I take the exam. I went and took the exam and there were 83 questions on it. Does that make sense? Now you say 83, that's not 90. So what about the other 7? Now, I think they have different banks of questions so that you don't always get the same one. The other thing is they have questions on there for the next version of the test. They're checking it out, seeing how many people get it right, making sure it's phrased correctly. So there's going to be some experimental questions on there as well. Plus, as far as I understand, each individual question isn't worth the same amount. Does that help a little bit? So it's hard to give you a mathematical figure. So let's say you get 83 questions. I will give you a quick guess. I've taken these tests several times. Out of 83, I would say 69 or 70 out of 83. Just a quick, you know what I mean?
And what are some of the performance? Do you know if between the 501 and 601, did they change any?
Here's the thing. The 601 was supposed to be released today. So I had no real information on that.
Okay.
One of our tasks before we leave is to type in the 601. Is everybody okay with jumping over and seeing what they say about the 601 today? Can we hit that now?
Sure.
Are we curious enough? All right, I'm going to type off screen so that I don't mess up this screen. So I'm just going to type in CompTIA 601. You know what? I'm going to be bold and say PDF and see if they've got a PDF on this already yet. All right, CompTIA. Let me check. All right, let me move away from the chat. I'll pull this up where you guys can see. So we're going to be on CompTIA.org, and then we're looking for the specific 601. Okay, everybody can see this, yes?
Yep.
What's the exam launch date for the 601?
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
honestly can't answer too much on this, but you understand that more information is going to keep coming out. What's the problem about saying, hey, I want to take the 601 exam? Let's be practical. Let's be real world. If you want to take the 501 or the 601, what is one factor that that might decide that you might want to take the 501? What might be a problem with the 601 right now?
There's no training material on it to
Yeah, no study. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and we can come back to the PDF I had up. I didn't know how long we'd spend on each because this is very interactive. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to type it off screen, Amazon, and I have an account. It'll probably let me log in. This is my favorite place to go and get books. Okay, so let's do CompTIA 501. You don't always have to put in the size. Well, what the heck? Oop. All right. Now, when you're looking for books, what are we looking for? We're looking for lots of stars, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So you could probably say that the Security Plus certification kit, 4.5 stars, it's probably not the worst thing out there. After a while, you learn authors and you learn vendors, and you know that the Cybex books are usually pretty solid. There's a Jason Dion that was good for the 501. I'll hold this up to the camera. Let's see if this is, oh, this is Daryl Gibson. Daryl Gibson, very popular. I'm going to slide this up so you can see his name. And who did this one? Give me a second. He's a CompTIA authorized partner. Where is the printer? Come on, genius. I'm not going to take more than a second on this. Well, I can pop it up on Amazon. That was Daryl Gibson. He's popular. He has. They usually come with at least one practice test, and then you buy another book to get more. Let's do CompTIA, Daryl Gibson. And by the way, I have a whole video of this up on With You With Me. It's like, hey man, where do I get the books? You see this guy right here?
Yep.
Who else wants to know if there's a 601 book out? Go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead, interrupt me.
Hey,
Yep.
is there a 601 book out there?
No, I can't swear at you guys. This is a formal tape. Damn it. Okay. 601. Yeah, security. Let's see if that works. Watch, they're going to have January releases. Oh man, this is. I see one. March 12th, 2021. You see what I mean? March 12th, 2021. Yeah, the books aren't. There's a December 10th, 2020. You see what I'm saying about you may want to think about the 501 for a while. And there's going to be some differences on the exam, but a Security Plus is a Security Plus, and you'll still get the full 3 years credit if you do the 501. The only question is, what's the last date you can take it? And they better be getting these books out before they completely sunset the 501, right? But this is a consideration. All right, so what else do we care about? We want to know when the 501 sunsets. That's an Intuit term. Let's find out. Let's do a little Google search. CompTIA 501. End of life. Let's see if that works. Hang on, we'll slide that over in just a second. It's probably going to be the same page. All right, come on. Come on, when's the end? Yeah, I had all these open, but then I closed them up. Yeah, that's 501 and 601. So the deal is you're going to have to get to CompTIA.org. Let's put that into our question bank and hold me responsible for it. Say, Brett, you were going to look that up. When's the last day? You know, it's probably going to be, what are we in, November, December, January? Probably in February, I would guess. But we need to get that from CompTIA. So I owe you that. I owe you an answer to that one. But it wouldn't hurt you to go to CompTIA.org and start getting comfortable with finding this out, because this may change. Anyway, I'll take responsibility for digging that up. All right, let me see what all we got on our screen here. Same page. There's that. We all get the gist that there's 5 main domains and a bunch of subdomains, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, what do you think? Would this be a good time to go ahead and hit that rally point and see if I can show some videos and some Quizlets?
Yeah, yeah.
Makes sense? All right. Let's see. I had that popped up. I've got some interactive stuff I'm going to hit y'all with in a second, but I'm trying to make sure that we don't jump around entirely too much. All right, so let's see. I'm pulling up the With You With Me, which is known as one of the fastest websites in the world. Okay, hang on. What? Hey, little respect here. Devs are working hard. All right. People regular. 1 second. Probably slide that over. Okay, so it's under, should be under community, Rally Point. And we know that Rally Point's divided up for anybody that's been there, right? You know, data, cyber, robotics, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so this is going to be under cyber, so it was under community and cyber. It moved within the last couple of months, and by the way, this entire site's getting reworked. We're going to go in-house with the code so we have complete control. All right, so it says Security Plus Domain 6, Domain 5. Let me drop down a little bit here. A little bit here, you'll see my smiling face. So here's Domain 1 exam preparation. It talks about exam 1, but it also, I think, in here I've got a video about where to get resources, and we talk about the exam, not just Domain 1. We're going to pop that up. Okay. So exam preparation overview, how to get resources, where do you get books, where do you find videos, and Quizlet. Can I get a volunteer, maybe somebody other than Adam? Can y'all see if you can get into this and pop up the Quizlet for domain 1.1, see if y'all can interact a little bit and make sure you can get to it? I'll wait.
I'm at Rally Point. How do you get down to that section? You just scroll down?
Let me go back one. Let's go back one. All right, let's go back.
Oh,
All right, so you're at Rally Point, yes?
Yep.
Okay. You slide on over to the different sections. They're going to be broken up by data, cyber, robotics. Does that make sense?
Yep.
There's
I'm
a
in
blend of
cyber.
things. This isn't simply the breakup of the different types of tracks that we have. There's also additional information. So it's blend. You've got some A sort of stuff and some B sort of stuff jumbled in there. Boot camps. I understand why it
Okay.
might be a little bit harder to read. They just didn't want to have 30 different tabs going. So they're doing the best they can. So we click cyber. And then you get all the cyber videos. So Security Plus is closest to cyber versus data versus programming. Question?
No, I was just gonna say Quizlet is good on my end there, Brett.
I heard a couple of the words. What was it?
Oh, the Quizlet is good. I'm on it right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Very good. Okay. Okay. We always like some validation because I don't know for 100% chance that everybody can get into it. That's all right. By the way, you
Where
can
is it?
actually grab, oh, yes. Okay. So we're in cyber. Is everybody into cyber? Are we here?
I'm in cyber.
Good. That can mean a couple of things. All right. All right. So I'll scroll down. And so obviously I would have put in domain 1 longer a while back. So that's going to be closer towards the bottom. So here's domain 1. And I did the same thing. I'm a little bit unclear. This isn't just domain 1. This talks about Security Plus overall. So I kind of blended a couple of different things in here. Here's something about Security Plus exam prep. Here's resources. We're going to scroll down a bit more. These are videos. You see I broke them up into subdomains? My pretty graphics. We'll go down farther. And right here we see Security Plus terminology flashcards, Quizlets.
I see them.
Yeah, pop it and see if it goes. By the way, you can take this and you can actually take my model and add questions to them and resave and go, hey, I did all this work. Brett, who? Yeah, so you can modify them to suit your needs. All right.
Okay.
And then I created what's
Awesome.
called test Moz quizzes. I even forgot what they look like. They're a little sample. Oh, I got to put my name in.
Test Moz.
Let me see what I can do. Okay, because I don't have full rights to the website, I can't just put another WordPress module on here and create quizzes. So this is third-party stuff. So we're reaching out to third-party and coming back. What are there? There's 8. Anybody want to give this a try just for giggles? I think there's like maybe 8 boxes and a question. Anybody want to give it a quick shot? Click, click, click.
Not in front of you, Brett.
Hey, I could get them wrong too. Who's to say? Who's to say? All right, but anybody, y'all can see that there's some resources on here, right? And one of the things I'm doing here is to give people have a chance to feel where they're at level-wise, just to go, oh man, I had no idea what a RAT is, remote access Trojan. You know what I mean? Then you start to know what flashcards you need to create, or maybe and you notice this is domain 1.1, right? So maybe you need to spend some more time on domain. It's all about getting feedback. It's like, what do I know that I don't have to keep studying? Because there's just too much material. All right, so that's that. Let me take a look. I had an actual outline. Believe it or not, I had an outline. All right, what are we doing here? Release date, main topics, brief overview of the material, what the exam is like. So when you saw the test, Moz, there's a lot of that, multiple choice, some true, false. Do you know what? You might want to know what a performance-based question is. And I had a PDF for performance-based questions. Let me see if I can slide down to where we can see it. Okay, don't break, don't break. Let's see, welcome security mini. All right, let me see if I can slide this over. Does everybody see the PBQs, the performance-based questions?
Yes.
Okay. What it is they try to give you like a real world task, right? Not just is answer A, B, C, or D correct. They say actually type some stuff in there. So you understand what ports are, like, oh my goodness, port 80, port 443, port 22, yeah? IP addresses, make sense? So they're gonna actually have you type things in as if you're actually doing work. You notice this is different than multiple choice. This is actually do something that you might have to do at work. Yeah? You see the difference? All right, now the recommendation, you're gonna get about 5 of these things on the exam. You wanna put these off because some of them get fairly complicated. You put these off, you knock down your A, B, C, D, true, false questions, the easy stuff. You then come back at the end and do these because you don't know how long they're gonna take. Does that make sense? That's recommended by at least 80–90% of the teachers. Put these off. This might seem easy to you, but there's harder ones. You usually put off the performance-based questions and come back to them later. And there's like little stars that are on each question. You can mark them as incomplete and know to come back to them. And finish off everything before you quit. Does that help any?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I speak of the good English. All right, there's that. Let's see what else they had for performance-based. Yeah, that makes sense. Firewalls and ports and whatnot. I kept trying to come up with examples from Security Plus. I couldn't think of any. I kept saying network stuff. Yeah, there's some network stuff on there for performance-based questions. All right, let me look and see what I'm supposed to be doing here. Are we at 17 minutes yet? Let's see here. Let's see what the exam is like, getting study materials. So what was one of the study materials I showed you? Amazon, right? Amazon books, right?
Yep.
Let me do another one really, really quickly. Let me slide over where I can get one of these. There are free videos online. So let's do, and I already know them, like Professor Messer, etc. But let's do security plus, how about YouTube? Let's see who pops up here. Full course. I probably should be in YouTube to do this. Here, Professor Messer. He's just known. I think he does A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. And you see how he has multiple videos that generally go in order. I wonder if he's got this. He might not have the 601 up yet. Who knows? Okay, so what's the deal? You go to YouTube and you find somebody that gave you a stack of 30 free videos. Definitely the domains, mainly also a lot of the subdomains. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right? What else? Of course, there's going to be, in-person classes. If you're a veteran, you can talk to your veterans, assistants, mentors, and say, hey, how do I get free training? And it might be online or it might be bricks and mortar. More online with COVID. Does that help? What if you have still more questions? You go to my rally point, you watch that video that we were talking about, that we kept talking about for Quizlet. And I talk about all these things in more depth. All right. Okay. There are times on the test where it seems like there might be more than one correct answer. If you're sitting in class, that's the most frustrating thing, okay? So let's talk about types of controls. We can imagine what the word control means. What might an administrative control be? What might a deterrent be? Let's keep this easy. What's an administrative control? That's when something pops up on your computer and says, you agree that you're not going to be doing bad things on this computer. More, words and rules, and they might actually block some sites. All right? Now, I'm going to ask a question on camera. We haven't gotten into this in depth. It may not make sense, but I'm going to ask you something in plain English. Do you think a camera would be how was I going to do it? How was I going to do it? I had a better way to do this. A camera, a preventative, or a detective control? Now, we all know what preventative means and we all know what detective means, right? Take a guess. If they've got a camera up in the secure location, is it to prevent stuff or is it to be able to detect stuff? Which one?
Generally it's preventative.
I would go with that. Would anybody say it's detective? Would you be and there's a specific definition of detective, but would we be able to look at that video and find out who did what? Could it be detective?
Yep.
So it could kind of fall under two categories. Can we agree with that?
Yep.
By the way, detective means, I think for Security Plus, that it's ongoing and it detects a bad action. It detects that some pixels moved through the door and hey, somebody has broken in. So it can be detective. My point is, sometimes the question might have two good answers. My response is, pick 3 teachers that you trust, Professor Messer, Mike Chappell, whoever, me, and go, what does the majority say? There are going to be times where you take the test and only CompTIA themselves know the correct answer. That's okay. A good teacher will tell you the tricky stuff. I'll give you another one, and I don't know if I have, it's on PowerPoint. Let me give you another one. This is tricky questions and what you should do in advance. Tricky questions, I'm hitting this stuff. Tricky questions and what you should do in advance. Okay, hang on. There's the camera. Okay, if you read 6 Security Plus books, some people will tell you that piggybacking and tailgating is the same thing. What's the gist? Somebody follows you in using your card. You use your card, they follow you in. Here's the deal. If the teacher breaks it up, and you know the person is in, you hold the door for them. If you give somebody a piggyback ride, do you know that they're there? You're carrying them on your back. Do you know that they're there?
Yes.
Duh, right? If somebody's tailgating you, do you always know that they're tailgating?
No.
No.
Sometimes the practice questions will be, hey, you let somebody come in. What is that called, piggybacking or tailgating? There are some teachers that say tailgating for everything. They will never use the term piggybacking. There are at least 2 authors will define it between piggybacking is you let them in. Tailgating is they snuck in. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
If you ever run into these tricky ones, you go, man, I can't tell. Find 3 good teachers and go with the one that 2 people say, you need an odd number. But anyway, figure out what most of the teachers say and then never worry about it again because there's not going to be that many of these on the test. Does that help drop frustration on confusion?
Yeah. And
If there isn't an actual best answer, memorize what most of the teachers say, use that for the exam, and never lose sleep on it again.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I've done a few of the practice tests. I was helping my brother-in-law, and I did notice like the questions are they can be opinion based in some means of it. So I have heard, I don't know, what are your thoughts on how much, like, do you think practice testing burns you out, Brett, or like a small dose of it in moderation it can be?
I pass tests by doing practice tests. Practice tests are the closest you can get to the actual environment. So, in the US, we've got the Miles gear. We go play out in the desert and we're firing at each other with lasers. You want it as close to you don't want to be, with a broomstick going bang. You want to get as close to the test as you possibly can. You want to emulate it. And those are practice tests. You can get them off of CompTIA. It's the same terms. It just says, practice test or practice test bank. Try and get the ones that are 4-star or more and just test yourself till you're sick of them. If you keep getting the same terms wrong, then do some Quizlets. Make sure you memorize the terms and know your 3-letter acronyms. In the back of a lot of books And on that PDF I showed you, learn your 3-letter acronyms. Put those on some Quizlets. You don't want to be on a test going, what the heck is an ACL? Okay, I think we're about ready to wrap this up. You can interrupt me at any time. I was going to give you my email address. Here's what I had for a test. I was going to bug you guys to try a test real quick. Like, does anybody know this? What is the CIA triad? That's a big deal.
Confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility.
And that's important, right? And you're going to see that on the CISA Plus and the Pen Test Plus. You know, it's figuring out how are you getting hammered, which subsection, you know, of, you know, data loss, data prevention, data hacking are we looking at? Did we lose confidentiality, integrity, or access? These are important. Who knows why these sort of things are important? What category do these things fall in?
Regulations and compliance.
Regulations, right? Especially today. GDPR is privacy out of the European Union. And if you're working, you know, on anything to have to do with data and it's going through, you know, Europe, or if there's anybody from Europe that you have their data, you don't follow these regulations, your boss is going to lose some money, right? I'm looking at a SOC, you know, job, and they say, you know, Brett, one of the first things it's through England, but they're going to put you through the GDPR just to make sure you know not to get your boss sued. PCI DSS is payment card industry data security standard, you know, so if you deal with credit cards, you best be up on that because the fines are going up. People are angry. They're like, hey, you're losing our credit card data. We want to charge enough money that even Amazon is scared. So you need to know your regs. I don't know if you can see over the, how can you secure your data transmission if you log into a public network with your laptop or cell phone? If you're in a coffee shop, how can you secure your data if you have to log in from a coffee shop? What can you do?
Don't.
VPN.
VPN. If you're working from home, what is the only way to ensure that your data transmissions cannot be hacked or altered? 100% secure, bulletproof. How can you do that?
Turn your computer off, disconnected from the network.
Can we say trick question? There ain't no such thing. And by the way, when I'm helping write up other courses or help with other courses, if I'm doing data analysis and I'm helping students, I go, hey, did you guys consider the security? If I'm taking a Python course, I go, are you guys thinking about security now or are you just going to slap it on later? Are you going to slap the security on later? Right? We need to get
on later.
Yeah, you will, because there's no funding, right? Until you get busted, and the boss is like, "Why didn't you secure everything?"
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I can throw something up here on the screen. Should I maybe get another blank one? Let's do a blank one. Let's let you guys go. New slide. Brett.long at, that's an L. That rally point. Get comfortable with the CompTIA site. I think I'm probably going to kill the video, and I'll stay put if you guys want to ask any questions. So I'm going to be looking for the stop thing here.
Yeah, Brett, I have 2 questions actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, 3 questions, and I think